Track 7, Night Operations. Since the check ride is taking place during the day, the examiner will need to test Robin's understanding of night operations through an oral briefing.
Robin, let's talk about factors relating now to night operations. What are some of the things you can do to improve your night vision?
There are a number of things I can do. 1. I allow about 30 minutes prior to flight to adapt my eyes to darkness. 2. Use oxygen. Even at 5,000 feet, vision can deteriorate. 3. I close one eye if I'm exposed to a bright light. 4. I don't wear sunglasses after sunset. 5. I move my eyes around more slowly than I would in daylight. 6. I concentrate on seeing objects. 7. I can force my eyes to view off-center. And finally, I keep myself in good shape, avoid smoking, drinking, etc.
Now, suppose we're on approach to a well-lit runway, and this area is surrounded by darkness with no features. What's going to be an area of concern for you?
Well, I want to avoid what's called featureless terrain illusion. With no reference points in the dark, I could feel like I'm flying higher than I really am, and this can cause me to be too low. In other words, I need to watch my altitude.
Now, what kind of equipment are you going to need for a night flight?
At least one good flashlight with spare batteries. It's good if the flashlight can switch from white to red or green. The white light is used for pre-flight checks, and the red or green is good for cockpit operations.
What kind of equipment does the airplane need for VFR night flight?
And this is where I use a memory jogger called flaps. F stands for fuses. I need one spare set or 3 fuses of each kind, and they have to be accessible during flight. L stands for landing light if the aircraft is operated for hire. A stands for anti-collision light system, which is an approved aviation red or white. That's the beacon. P stands for position lights or navigation lights. S stands for source of electrical energy, adequate for all the installed electrical and radio equipment. And I need all the normal VFR day flight equipment.
Now, you mentioned position lights. When do you have to have position lights on?
Sunset to sunrise.
Tell me something more about position lights. If we see an aircraft in flight and we only see a green light on it, what does that mean?
That tells me the aircraft is moving from left to right in relation to our aircraft. An aircraft has a red light on the left wingtip, a green light on the right wingtip, and a white light on the tail. If we see both green and red, then it's approaching us.
Talking about light systems, how would you determine the status of a light system, say at a particular airport?
I would check the airport facility directory and any NOTAMs. These will show what light systems are available, the light intensities, and any radio-controlled light system frequencies.
Now, how can you identify a land airport versus a sea base from the air?
Lighted land airports have white and green, or green alone, beacons. A water airport has a white and yellow, or yellow alone beacon.
Okay, let's talk some more about colors. What color or colors are the runway edge lights?
These are white except on instrument runways, where they're yellow on the last 2,000 feet or half of the runway, whichever is less, to form a caution zone for landing.
Now, how can you identify the end of the runway?
Departing, I'll see red lights marking the end of the runway. Approaching the land, I'll see green to mark the threshold.
After landing, how do I identify the taxiway at night?
Taxiway edge lights are blue. Centerline taxi lights are steady green.
We covered this briefly earlier. What must you do to remain current for VFR night flight?
I need to make at least 3 takeoffs and landings to a full stop in the preceding 90 days. These have to be in the same category, class, and type of aircraft.
So when do you need to be on the ground if you're not night current?
By definition, night refers to civil twilight. This is the period a little after sunset and a little before sunrise, varying with latitude. Typically it lasts maybe 15 to 20 minutes. But I have from 1 hour after sunset to 1 hour before sunrise to get on the ground if I'm carrying passengers, but not night current.
You know your night stuff pretty well.
Hey, thanks.
In addition to aeromedical factors, airplane equipment requirements, and airport lighting, the examiner may also test you with some night flying scenarios. Be prepared to explain how your night pre-flight inspection might differ from a day walk-around, or how your basic flying tasks would differ, including startup, taxi, departure, and navigation. Be able to explain the precautions you'd take to avoid clouds or runway incursions. The examiner needs to see how you will apply your knowledge of night operations.